So one of the most talked about moments at the State of the Union the other night was when Biden went back and forth with Marjorie Taylor Greene, and he did it over this woman by the name of Laken Riley, who was killed by an undocumented immigrant. Marjorie Taylor Greene gave Biden a pin. He picked up the pin, mentioned Laken Riley, and in the midst of that exchange, he said she was killed by an illegal. And this became a big deal because in the current liberal vernacular, you don't say illegal alien anymore. You don't even say illegal immigrant anymore. You say undocumented immigrant. And the argument goes, well, no person is illegal. And if you say that, it's a dehumanization of that person as such. This is the way the language functions today, right? And so he said an illegal. And then that became a big deal where even some of his biggest defenders were like, the worst part of the speech is what he said in illegal. I did not like that one bit. So then afterwards, he was asked by a reporter when he was getting on a flight or on a helicopter or something. He was asked by a reporter if he regrets saying an illegal. And he said, well, technically that person's not supposed to be here. So no. Okay. Then apparently at some point between that moment and the moment you're about to see here, his staffers got to him. And they were like, sir, you better fix this. You better clean this up. This is unacceptable. You've pissed off massive numbers of our base. The terminology is not illegal. It's undocumented immigrant. And they probably explained the logic to him. No person is illegal. That's dehumanizing, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So he's asked now in an MSNBC interview if he regrets saying illegal. The exchange that follows I find very interesting. Let's watch.
I noticed the look of surprise on your face when you walked into the chamber and you saw Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene. It was priceless. You feigned shock at seeing her. But during your response to her heckling of you, you used the word illegal when talking about the man who allegedly killed Laken Riley.
An undocumented person. And I shouldn't have used illegal. It's undocumented. And look, when I spoke about the difference between Trump and me, one of the things I talked about on the border was that the way he talks about vermin, the way he talks about these people polluting the blood. I talked about what I'm not going to do, what I won't do. I'm not going to treat any of these people with disrespect. Look, they built the country. The reason our economy is growing. We have to control the border and more orderly flow, but I don't share his view at all.
So you regret using that word?
Yes.
So there's his apology. The thing that I can't wrap my mind around is Joe Biden was involved in the negotiation of a bipartisan bill led by Senator James Lankford on the Republican side. Very, very deeply conservative Republican. And they came up with a border bill. And in the border bill, it was super right-wing. Super right-wing. The stuff that the Democrats got in that bill that they cared deeply about was the Ukraine money and the Taiwan money. And both parties wanted the Israel money, and that would have been in this bill. And this bill was killed by Trump because he, quote, didn't want to give Biden a win. But the bill was massively conservative. I didn't see anywhere near the level of outrage over the fact that Biden co-signed all these right-wing border ideas as I've seen compared to this moment where he said in illegal. There was more anger over the language in illegal than there was over the fact that Biden co-signed a super conservative border bill, which had nothing in it for the Dreamers, nothing in it about a path to citizenship at all. And basically what it did is it sent a whole bunch of funding to the border to make it so that we have more judges, more Border Patrol agents, more ICE. They literally shut down the border after 5,000 encounters, so nobody even gets due process anymore once you get over that 5,000 number. And again, more outrage over the language than the literal bill that he was out there promoting and doing a victory lap over, which was a bill that Donald Trump in his wildest dreams the last time he was in office, he couldn't get through because it was far too conservative. I have to say, this annoys the shit out of me. It annoys the shit out of me because of the way the Democratic side, the liberal side, and even the left in some instances functions. There's more outrage over language policing. There was more of a backlash over him saying an illegal than there was backlash over the portion on Israel where he effectively lied through his teeth over and over again and still continued to give Netanyahu the green light, even though he pretended he wasn't doing that. I will never understand that. I'll never understand that. I just won't get it. Language policing supersedes Palestinian lives. Language policing supersedes the literal policy on the border, which was abhorrent. I don't know how the left can organize and win if that's how misplaced priorities are. If that's where the bulk of the outrage is focused. And by the way, look, I'll say this. They're going to change the language again very shortly anyway, right? I understand the argument, right? I say undocumented. But soon they're going to say, well, undocumented is dehumanizing also. Now we need a new term. This is what happens every time. I mean, it happened with homeless. I think they wanted houseless. And then it's unhoused. And the language just keeps move the language. And at the end of the day, the concept of what you're talking about is still the same. And so it is like literal nitpicking. It's very obscure, lost in the minutia and the details. And then meanwhile, the lane is wide open on policy where a Democrat can go as far right as they want on actual policy and mum's the word. So I don't get it. I don't get it. And it's actually, what's shocking to me is that he actually apologized. Usually, Joe Biden, in these scenarios, he'll say something that's politically incorrect, and then he'll just be like, fuck off, and just move on, right? This is him feeling like, and it's funny, look how quickly he buckled when it was on language versus all the pro-Palestine protesters who are begging him to stop the genocide, and he's basically like, fuck off, I'm going to keep funding the genocide. Language, he buckles right away. The funding of a genocide, well, you know, it's complicated, and Israel has a right to defend itself, and here's more money, and here's more weapons. Well, please don't kill any more civilians, but okay, if you're going to do it, it's fine. Here's more money and more weapons again. What are we doing here? What are we doing? And by the way, so after he does this, you guys are going to love this. After he does this, a lot of the people who were criticizing him initially, they come out and they're like, this is how a leader works. It's so brave. It takes a big man to admit when he made a mistake. And he came out here and admitted he made a mistake. I'm riding with Biden. A lot of the critics were like creaming themselves over the fact that he said, undocumented, okay, not illegal. Guys, the bill he still supports is like a Trump bill. It is a Republican bill. And now you're going to praise him because he said undocumented as he does a total border crackdown or wants to do a total border crackdown, and you got nothing to criticize on that front? So as long as you say the right words, you can be Donald Trump on the issue of the border. Is that the way it works? These are the rules? It is for, Twitter liberals. Apparently are the rules for Twitter liberals. So anyway, pathetic. Hey, y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time in the algorithm. Click the bell as well for notifications when videos drop. And watch that video on screen right now. You know you want to.